Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. Today we're going to be unboxing two expansions for Everdell, and a lot of you guys out there in the solo community know Everdell quite well. You can play the game solo right out of the core box, whether you picked it up during the Kickstarter or even in retail. It's a very beautiful looking game. The artwork is fantastic. Definitely have to give a shout out to this individual right here, Andrew Beasley, shown right on the box art. It is fantastic on top of the card art. Everything about it is just beautiful. So what we're going to be showing here in this video is not only what you're seeing in front of you, Everdell Spirecrest, the collector's edition. So take that into account. This is the box, the collector's edition from the most recent Kickstarter. This will also be going to retail, but without the collector's edition tag and some component upgrades inside as well. Another box we're going to take a look at inside of this video is another expansion for Everdell called Bellfaire. And again, another beautifully designed box, a little bit thinner than Spirecrest, but again, is going to add more to your experience. So let's start things off by checking out Everdell Bellfaire. Here's an up-close look at the back of the Bellfaire box. It states the King is throwing an unprecedented year-long event to commemorate the 100th year since Everdell's founding. Come one, come all. You're going to find player powers and resource boards inside the box. You'll see up here that Bellfaire adds components and rules for 5 to 6 players. So you might think that's all that this expansion does, but it also states right below it, and plenty of new fun for all player counts. So that's really important to note. Again, this is solo playable, so there are going to be pieces of this that are going to be able to be added into your solo game, and you'll be able to experience the game and have even more options at your disposal. Things like new events and stuff like that are going to add into decks that you already have, giving you more options and more strategies to go after. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open the box up and check it out. So when you first open up the box, you're going to be greeted with the Starling Games catalog for spring 2019. You can go ahead and flip through that to see some games that they have available. Next, you're going to run right into the Rules of Play booklet. This is not a very thick booklet, so I'll quickly open this up and show you guys what it looks like inside. If you're familiar with Everdell at all, you're going to understand that the rules to Everdell were very quickly mastered by individuals that wanted to play this game in a solo capacity. So you're not going to struggle to get through the rulebook in any way, shape, or form. You've got the overview right here, contents in terms of what you can expect to find inside, but we'll see a lot of that stuff up close in a few seconds. Moving right along, we've got modules here because that's what this is really adding in. We've got player boards, forest locations, special events, flower festival events, Garland Awards, the market, which is a major part of this, the Bellfaire board itself, which was that major board we saw in the back of the box and likely what we're seeing right behind the rulebook right now. Moving on to the next page, it talks about the 5 to 6 players, all right here. It also talks about how to go ahead and deal with player powers. A breakdown here for all kinds of different individuals or creatures. And that continues on all the way through. And at the very, very back here, we've got the solo game notes. So I will go ahead and just mention some of this stuff quickly. So you may not use the rat's player power in a solo game. If Rugwort claims the Flower Festival event, he scores 4 points for that event. Rugwort still gets all his workers, even if you're using player powers, and you do not gain a worker in Spring. You can see there's a W there, so there was a miss on the editing. For a more challenging solo game, try adding one or more of these variants. So this is always a nice plus, seeing some advanced difficulty being added in. So you can go with Glitzy. Every prosperity card Rugwort plays is worth 5 points instead of 3, so ramping that right up there. Squatty is Rugwort scores 2 points for every space in your city where you have not played a card. Hasty, during Rugwort's prepare for season action, he will immediately achieve the leftmost special event. Lucky is if you roll the same number that was previously rolled, give Rugwort 1 point token. Cranky, if you roll an 8, you must randomly discard 1 card from your hand. This is a cool and very interesting touch for the back of the book. It's Everdell celebrating 100 years, and it speaks to every single year of those 100 years. So that's kind of cool to go through if you're a fan of the game. Flipping it over, you get to the back of the rulebook, and that's about it. So I've gone ahead and rotated this around so you can see it more easily. We've got spring up here, summer and autumn. The market, which is that major extra in here. Got some gaining and trading going on. The flower festival, special events along the bottom. The token punch board underneath has 7 Garland Award tiles. You can see those 7 right there. We've also got the 4 market tokens, the market itself, the tile for it. We have the flower festival event tree right here. This individual right there is the rugwort token that we were talking about just a little bit ago. And along the bottom here is a token that I can't literally pronounce the name of, so I'm not going to bother trying. You'll see it in the rulebook. Next, underneath, we have what I believe to be the 5 and 6 player boards here. I'll go ahead and flip them on the opposite side as well. You can see they're already punching out. Beautiful artwork on them. If I flip them over, like you can see like this, it matches the other punch board just below it. So you're going to have reverse on either side there. So a double up, like so. Absolutely stunning though. I love all the artwork in this game. It's phenomenal. And same thing right here. If we go ahead and rotate this one over, I'll show you the opposite side here. There we go. And then we get to the actual insert of the game. And I can tell you right now, this is one thing that I love about Everdell. Again, in comparison to the retail version, I believe the inserts stay. I don't believe that they're changed out in any way, shape, or form. So you still get that great insert even when you pick it up in retail form. I think it's more about the components and some of the bump ups in quality of the tokens and things like that that you get with the collector's edition. But as you can see here, spots for everything to go back once you punch it, which is awesome. We've got some cards to go through as well as some of those wooden tokens right here. So let's start with them. Half the wooden tokens are for a brand new critter inside the game called the Cardinals, of course. They're in red, and there's also a frog ambassador if you choose to go ahead and use this with the Pearlbrook expansion where the frog ambassador first showed up. Another critter that you can choose to control is the toads, and they also come with a frog ambassador as well. Now onto the mini cards. We've got 15 player power cards. You're going to probably want to pause the screen in order to read these. I will go through them slow enough that you can. We got the Cardinals there. We saw them. Foxes. The hedgehogs. Lizards. The mice. The moles. The otters. The owls, platypuses, the rats, squirrels, starlings, toads, turtles, and there's the one that I just cannot pronounce for the life of me. And that's going to do it. There's 4 forest cards inside the box. Let's take a look at them quickly. And last but not least, we have 9 special event cards. Let's check them out. And when the insert is as useful as it is inside Bellfaire, it's certainly worth showing how everything has its own place. So here's the rules. You've got the main board right here, which I can pop right out. Everything's got its place. Tokens over here, the wooden ones. You got cards over here. You got this tile that fits perfectly in there. These ones stow away nicely right in here. Everything has its own little spot. And then over here, all the major boards. Some tokens hidden underneath. That's pretty much it. And that's going to do it for the unboxing of Bellfaire. How about we go ahead now and check out the collector's edition of Spirecrest. Let's flip this one over and see what it has in store for us. Far beyond the comfortable borders of the Everdell Valley, deep into mysterious and uncharted lands, adventure is waiting to be discovered. You can see right here, collector's edition. Again, remember that you're going to want to check the Kickstarter page to see what won't be included or be changed from this collector's edition versus the retail one that releases. Again, gameplay elements I believe don't change here. I really think it's just component upgrades. We've got the weather cards right here. Impose challenging limitations to overcome. So the weather cards are going to obviously throw weather conditions at you as you play through the game. Discovery cards let the players encounter intrepid new creatures and locations on their journey, providing unique new strategies and abilities. That sounds pretty interesting. Big critters. So these things right here that all these critters are riding on, big critters, are unique workers with interesting and helpful abilities who also serve as trusty mounts. Likely, I imagine they're going to go on these adventures or expeditions with you. It says right here, at game's end, set off on your expedition. Quite cool. So maybe you're kind of pre-plotting all that stuff. You can see right here, players 1 to 4, again, very similar to the rest of the Everdell lineup. So when you first open up the box, you're going to see exactly the same type of care level put into the packaging here. You can see, again, a perfectly cut piece of styrofoam here along the side to basically keep this main board secure. So it's not knocking around, getting dented and beat up before it arrives to you. So that's really nice to see that level of care. Again, you've got the catalog here. We'll skip past that this time. Rules of play. Let's check out Spirecrest quickly, and we'll also focus on the solo rules that are likely at the back. Contents right here in the overview on the left-hand side. You've got your setup here for the main board. The main board is called the mountain board. There seems to be 6 steps to get that set up. Then you're going to be dealing with the trail. There's a chart there depicted. You've got discover, which is going to obviously, you're going to have discovery cards as we talked about on the back of the box. So it's all laid out. More talk about traveling through foothills, peaks, and ridges and identifying those on this board. You got weather, of course, winter, spring, summer, and autumn across all the different seasons, of which we know inside of Everdell is normal. Expedition, and then we get to the solo rules, which happened a little bit earlier than I expected here. So again, I won't read this whole thing out. You can pause the screen and read it for yourself, but this is where the solo rules are housed. And then we come over here to the index, which this is how they lay out the index. It's quite nice, lots of white space, nothing's jumbled together too much. It's not a giant wall of text, it's broken up nicely. For each of the weather cards, you can kind of reference them as you go through gameplay. And of course, once you become familiar with these, you won't be looking at them very often, but good to have. And then right here, we've got excerpts from the Journal of Tauren Hair. That's kind of cool. So again, fans of the game are going to really like this kind of stuff that they throw at the back of the book. Similar to what they did there with the last expansion, Bellfaire, where they had the 100 years laid out. This seems to be something really interesting to read before going ahead and playing or maybe adding this expansion in. So that's going to do it for the rule book. Then we have right here, this is quite nice, a little pamphlet here for the collector's content. So if you're wondering exactly what is special about the collector's version, this is likely going to tell you. So it does say you're a proud owner of this collector's edition, and you got the setup here for adding discovery cards to foothills, peaks, ridge decks, and in the standard edition of Spirecrest. And it says you may choose to use owls, lizards, or moles as your workers. The collector's content includes 9 discovery cards, 3 big critters, 4 plastic saddles, and 1 spare. 18 critters, got owls, lizards, moles, 3 frog ambassadors for each of those if you use it with Pearlbrook. And then we've got this rule sheet, of course. So here's an overview of the mountain board. You can see those little icons that are built right into the artwork itself. I love that because it doesn't pop out as much as something like this does. This iconography right here, so you can see, isn't actually blended into the game board itself, but this stuff is, and I really like that. So you got kind of your foothills here, your peaks here, and your ridges look like this. So it's, once you become accustomed to that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool that it's all just ingrained inside of this mountain board. Now you also notice at the very top here that these two sides, I don't believe, are perfectly even. They probably even look a little bit skewed, especially this one comes to a point. This one's rounded off. Again, this board is going to be slotted at the bottom of the board that comes inside the Everdell base game. So that's the reason why it looks oddly shaped, because it's supposed to connect like a puzzle piece into that board and extend that game area out. Next up, we have the punch boards. We have 12 3-point tokens over here. We have 6 Everdell map tokens right here. And then we have a large amount of map tiles, 24 of them up here, all for different areas. Here is what the insert looks like inside of this box. You can see there's a slot for cards, your tokens. The large mounts are actually quite large. We'll see all those close up. Lots and lots of colorful wooden tokens here in this collector's edition. It looks pretty awesome. So I'm going to show you all these closer up. Here we've got 15 rabbit travelers. So there's one for each critter type in Everdell and all the expansions. Quite a few. Here are the saddle tokens. There's one extra as well, just in case, inside this game. I'll actually show you one on top of a mount very soon. Here we have a number of the big critter meeples. These things are quite large. The saddles for these big critters look pretty awesome when they're actually put on the miniature, and they're really easy to put on too. You simply just put them on top and push down on them, and they'll just click into place like so. And then you can go ahead and take your other wooden critter and put it right on top of the mount. Here are the 6 owl wooden critters, 6 mole critters, and 6 lizard critters, plus 6 fox critters. And then your 4 frog ambassadors that match the same color as the 4 new critters that we just went through. For those of you that were curious, here's an example of a mole on top of a saddle, which is on top of what looks to be a wolf. Now let's go over some of the standard size cards that come inside the box. We have the ridge cards right here. I'm showing you the back of the cards right now. A number of those. And then we get to the peaks cards, which are like the mountain cards. And then we get to the foothills cards, like this. Now let's go ahead and flip these over, take a look at the opposite side and the artwork. It is really cool looking. So let's go through these one at a time. We'll flip them and you'll see the artwork not only on the card is really, really nice, it is like the main focus of the card, which is awesome looking. And that's going to do it. Now, I believe there's about 33 discovery cards that I just went through with you, but you'll remember that the collector's edition includes an additional 8. So these are the additional 8 right here. So let's take a look at them. Next, let's check out the 12 weather mini cards that are inside the game for different seasons. Go ahead and just flip through the backs of them so you can see them. There is 3 for each season. Flipping it over, again, artwork is the focal point here, which is pretty awesome. Got flooding, wildfire, hail, lightning storms, heavy rain, Tornadoes, Severe Wind, absolutely love the artwork, Heat Wave, Drought, Deep Freeze, Dense Fog, Blizzard. Back to flooding. So last but not least, I punched everything out, put it all back in the box. I want to show you what it looks like when it goes back in. Again, games that have great inserts deserve to be shown off. So this one here, collector's contents, we'll move this past, rules of play, and then we got the main board. I kept the styrofoam piece so it actually fits in there so snugly, which is great because it ensures that it doesn't fly anywhere. There's all the components all organized into the baggies that came inside the box. They all have their own designated compartment. The cards, the standard size cards have a slot. The mini cards have a slot. You've also got all your actual tokens here along this side. Everything is not going anywhere. And that's going to wrap up the unboxing for Everdell Spirecrest as well as Everdell Bellfaire. Really hope this helps you make an informed decision on both of these expansions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.